Hi everyone. Today we're going to be continuing our journey through C# and we're going to focus on arrays. Arrays are basically this: collections of variables of the same type of fixed length. So let's take a look. So this will make more sense. I'm in Visual Studio Code. Open folder. I'm going to create a folder called arrays. Select folder. I'm going to go to terminal, new terminal, .NET, new console. All right, that created a program. We click on it. We remove hello world. We want debugging. We remove my face. There we go. So we're going to start off by declaring an array. And I'm going to show you a number of ways to do this. So different ways to declare an array. I'm going to create an array of integers. So I go int. I open square brackets. I'm going to call that array numbers. In the next line, I go numbers equal new int, and I specify how many elements this array is going to hold, and I say 5. So that's the first way to declare an array. Second way would be to put everything in one line, like so. Int, square brackets, numbers 2 equals new int 5. So numbers 2 at position 0. Let's put a 5. Numbers 2 at position 1. We'll put a 4. Numbers 2 at position 2. We'll put a 3. Numbers 2 at position 3. I will put a 4. Numbers 2 at position 4. I'll put a 5. Numbers 2 at position 4. Notice I'm using the same position. I put a 1. So what ends up happening, 1 will replace the 5, and numbers 2 at position 5, I will put a 7. Right? So let's run this program. Let's see what happens. Wow, it doesn't like numbers 2 at position 5. What's going on? Well, its index was outside the bounds of an array. So what happened here, right? Since we started at 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's our positions, right? We have used up all the values. So this is a little bit confusing because it looks like 5 is good, but it's not. It's always -1. So if I set 5, it goes up to 4 because it started at 0. So this one is not good. So you're saying, well, is it possible to resize it? Yes, you can resize it. So below is not allowed unless the array is resized. So how do we resize? Array inherits from array class. So we are allowed to use methods of that class. So we can say system array. We have to say ref to target the array that we want to resize. So it's numbers 2, and we want to give it a new size of 6. So what's wrong here? System array, that's the class, but we need a method. So the method is called resize. So now we try this again. Let's see what happens. He likes it. So let's go ahead. So we made it bigger. We can also make it smaller. So let's resize it back to 5. And let's do this again. You see, it doesn't like it anymore because we made it back to size 5. So below, not allowed because we shrunk the array back to 5. Alright, so you have this array, like you want to see what's inside all the elements. So you have an option. You can either go console, right line, and go numbers to 0, and do this for all 5. Let's run this. Okay, so yeah, let me just disable this one because we resized it. So when I run this now, you will see that it told me that at position 0 we have a 5, which is correct. So you can do the same thing for all of them, but think about it. If you have, let's say, 10,000 elements, right? What you're gonna write this out? You can, but it's not the right way to do it. So what we can do is that we can use a loop, which is a for loop. I will discuss loops in much more detail later on. So we're basically saying int index, create a variable of type index, set this equal to 0, make the index less than the length of the array, which is numbers 2. We say length, and then increment index by 1. So this action, what I'm about to type, will be repeated as many times as there is elements in the array. Alright, so now let's write out console write line, but instead of 0 we will put index, which will be dynamically changing. So let's see what happens, right? So we expect the last value to be 1. Yep, here we go. So loops go very well with arrays. So going back to our example, this is a little painful, right? To do this all line by line, but there is a better way, guys. So let's do it. So let's go int numbers 3, and you can do it in the following way. You can say new int, and then you just list all the elements. So we have 5, 4, 3, 4, and 1. This to be 3 because we have already that one. Okay. So what does will do, right? So notice what we didn't do, right? We didn't have to specify the size of the array. We left the brackets blank. And then we didn't have to go line by one because the the C# compiler knows that commas separate the positioning. So 5 will go to position 0, 4 to position 1, 3 to position 2, 4 to position 3, and 1 to position 4, right? So that's one way. There's also another way that you can do this, is that you can say int numbers 4 this time, and just say new, and just list everything. So we didn't even have to specify int, because it knows that all these are ints. So let's if you try to do something, trick it, right? You put 1 5 over there. So let's see what happens when you it allow you to do this. Let's say we put an A, right? It allow you to put A. So let's see. Console write line. Let's look at the first position. Is it gonna be an A, or is it gonna be something else? No, it converted to an, I think it's ASCII Unicode value of A, capital A. So be careful, right? When I say, let's say, when I say 4, let's see if we get a 4 or we get the value of 4. You see, we don't get a 4, we get the Unicode value of 4 for the ASCII. So you gotta be very careful here. It will not crash, it will run, but I don't think you want 52 in there. So that's why it's experiment with the code, you know, don't be afraid. In the worst case, it will just crash and will not run. So you can do, we did this with numbers, you can do this with characters. You can say A, B, and C. You can do this with strings. So string. Okay, so let's say hi. The friend. The one thing you see, notice that characters expect single quotes and strings expect double quotes. Right. So what happens if you do something like this? Bye bye. And just leave it at 2. So what happens in this case is that the contents of strings array gets replaced with this new content of bye bye. So that's something to keep in mind. You guys notice that when we are working with variables, let's say I say int number, right? Then I want to write out console. Right line, I want to write the contents of a number. What happens here? Use of unassigned local variable number. So C# did not let me below is not allowed because the variable was not assigned a value. What happens with arrays, right? So let's say int, let's go numbers 5, and let's just do new with one element, right? So let's see what happens here. Numbers 5. Oh, it's not complaining. Interesting. So when we run it, you see that by default, an array of type int gets a value of 0. All right, okay. So let's see what happens for characters. Characters 2 equal new char. All right, so console right line. So characters 2 0. So what's going on here? Oh wow, we get a question mark. What the heck is this? So all right, so it's a question mark. So let's see if we can detect it. So is this equal to question mark? No, it tells me it's not equal to a question mark. So this is very strange. So what's really happening? It's equal to a Unicode representation of null. So, which this is the checking if it's a Unicode version of null. So when we run this, we get a true. So that's how you would check whether the member of an array for a character was initialized. All right, so let's end this fun with strings. Let's see what happens in case of a string. So string 2 strings 2 equal new string. Right, so let's see console write line. Strings 2 at position 0. Oh, nothing, just like an empty space. So let's see what that is, right? So is this blank? No, it's not a blank. Is this null? Oh, it's true. So this is in fact a null. So there it is, guys. So that was a brief introduction to arrays. And next time we're going to look at multi-dimensional arrays, value types and the reference types. Okay, so please subscribe. See you guys next time. All the best. Bye bye.